I'm Jessica Peresta, host of the Elementary Music Teacher Podcast, a part of the Education Podcast Network. Shows on the network are individually owned and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other interesting education podcasts at edupodcastnetwork.com.
Welcome to Fresh Air at 5, the podcast. I'm your host, Brian Carpenter. Fresh Air at 5 is my regular attempt to exercise by walking about my neighborhood to take in podcast content, then reflect in an unedited video, which I finally post to my Twitter channel. This podcast will be a regular collection of the audio from these selfie videos. You can follow me on Twitter at Fresh Air at 5 or check out my website, briancarpenter.com, for other content I have created and collected.
Hey, PLN, Monday, September 5, 2022, out here for Fresh Air at 5, getting fresh air out here in the woods, and there's a lot of fresh air going on, oxygen coming off the trees, and eking out the last moments of summer. If you saw my podcast title last week, it was Eking Out the End of Summer. Still doing that. Went fishing yesterday, went frisbee golf the day before with my family, and enjoying the last moments before we go back to school tomorrow. So no podcast listening today, just reflecting on how privileged and blessed I am to live and be where I am, teach where I teach, and thankful for you for listening. I hope that you're grateful today where you are, and if you're in Canada, you got Labor Day. I'm not sure if that's a thing in the States, but we are still enjoying the last remnants of our summer here, and school actually doesn't start for us here in British Columbia until Tuesday. Otherwise, you guys have started a while back, a couple weeks back, but we are starting tomorrow. So, okay, hope you have a great one. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I am going to as well. We're going to Zoa Peak up here at the Coquihalla Summit with some friends and enjoying hiking in the woods. All right, peace out. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye. Hey, PLN, September 6, 2022. Welcome back to school day here in BC. And today is the first day of school here. Super excited about it. Get to go in, see my staff colleagues and principal, and get back to the beginning of the school year and all that entails. And I'm excited about my learning and about working with students. And so that's my day. That's coming up. I'm super excited. My daughters both start their first day of high school. My youngest is in grade 9 in high school, and the other daughter's in grade 10. And so I'm going to take the back to school picture because it's important. I don't know why, but it is. Put on Facebook and talk about my kids going back to school. But yeah. And so here I am out walking this morning. Yesterday, we went for a hike up in the mountains, the Coquihalla Summit, and did Zoa Peak. It was about 670 vertical meters of gain that we did, and over 9.1 kilometers. So this morning I was sore getting out of bed. I didn't want to, but I knew I needed to. So I got out of bed. My son had to get up, so he's off to work, and I got out for Fresh Air at 5. And this morning I came across the Chey and Pav show, the latest episode, episode 115 of the Chey and Pav show, with a very provocative title, Quiet Quitting. And I went, what is this? Is this walking away from your job, quietly, without having a leaving party and having people not celebrate you? But no, it's far from that. And we're going to get into this in the one more thing to say coming up, because I've got other things to say about this. And I just wanted to say that over this past weekend, I could have worked all weekend long and put it in and been primed and super organized and ready for today. But instead, I decided to be human and enjoy the final days of my summer vacation and break and summer break for my own mental health and spending time with my family. We had a great weekend. Okay, coming right back. Hang on. One more thing for September 6, 2022. I'm still reflecting on episode 115 of the Chey and FAAF show, and you guys have put forward an idea that you learned about through the news, and this is like out there beyond education, about people quietly quitting their job. I don't know, it's not quitting their job, but it's like work to rule. Working to your contract, working to what my job description says, and doing no more because that's not my job. And that's harmful to our system and our world because, there's a lot of things that are not my job that I do, that if I didn't do them, you just take away from Carpenter being Carpenter and Chey and FAAF being themselves and educators being these people that build into students' lives and find joy in that. Working to rule takes the joy out of your job, likely, I would say, unless you have a really great job where your job description is kind of, fuzzy and allows you to have joy and do the things that you love to do, So, yeah, Chey and FAAF, you got me thinking this morning, and the whole work to rule thing, I did that once. Well, it wasn't because of contractual things. It was because my boss said, we got to cut down on the overtime. You guys are putting too much into overtime. We got to get our projects done in the time given. But this is chemistry. Chemistry and chemicals don't care. This is back when I was a pharmaceutical research scientist, and the chemicals don't care. They don't care about the clock. They do what they want to do. And chemistry takes time. So that's kind of what we do here as educators. We work, we develop, we create, we make, we provide opportunity, we grow into students' lives. And those growing into students' lives isn't bound by, I'm sorry, it's 4:00, I have to go home now. Because students' lives are, different than that. Sometimes it takes a little longer. We can get things done typically, but that's it. Okay, that's all for today. Okay, bye. Hey, PLN, happy Thursday, September 8th, 2022. We are 3 days. This is the third day into my back to school week. And yesterday I missed recording and getting out for fresh air at 5. I was absolutely exhausted after the first day in my teaching space, and I didn't see any students, but we have a transition to a new learning management system, and working through those transitions and getting my girls to school, my youngest into high school for the first day, but just the different things that go along with that. I woke up yesterday morning and I was like, I can't even get out of bed. I was spent. I haven't used my brain in this capacity in a while. So I was totally spent, dragged myself out of bed to go to work, and had another 3.5 hours of meetings yesterday. Got to see my people at school, and just to be able to connect with them and work through this common struggle of this transition to this new learning management system together. I'm thankful for all of them. It's significant that we are doing what we're doing. One of our seasoned teachers said to me, it's been 30 years and this is the hardest startup I've ever had. And I would agree. This is a challenge. I'm entering my 14th year or so, and it is a challenge. It's hard to do these transitions. Also, Google to Microsoft is looming in front of us. We have a year to get out of it, but we've decided to embrace that right now. So we've got all that learning curve that's going on. Oh, and we're supposed to do other things. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we will do those other things, but we're primarily struggle is to move forward with our Do2L Brightspace implementation and to work through that. I am thankful for my job. I am thankful for the people around me. I am grateful for my principal. I am grateful for all that I've got going on and the fullness and the richness of that. And that brings me to thinking about episode 22 of Lainey Rowell's podcast, and right this second I can't remember what that's called, Lainey, but I'm going to get it in the tweet here, and Jillian Du Bois was her guest. Coming right back. I'll be right back. Bye. All right, one more thing for September 28th, 2022. Continuing on my thoughts on episode 22 of Evolving with Gratitude. That's the name of the podcast that I just said that I had forgotten with Lainey Rowell. And Lainey, thanks so much for another episode of your gratitude and joy and conversation with an educator that has brought their take on gratitude to your podcast. And you need to listen to this, people. You need a boost today. You need a lifter upper. Take a listen to what Lainey and Jillian Du Bois talk about gratitude. And a couple things jumped out at me, Jillian and Lainey. It was one was the word expectation, and how, Lainey, you brought that out of the Alcoholics Anonymous camp, that expectations are premeditated resentments. And that changes that word for me. You know, is it our right? It's our expectations are like our rights. And if they're our rights, can we be grateful for our rights? Can we should be, but if we expect them to happen, are we grateful and joyful for the things that happen because of that? Or it's just my right. It's the thing that I'm owed. I like, Jillian, what you said about gratitude, that it has to do with unexpected joys that come in your day and paying attention to those things. You told the story about your son taking his test and that you were surprised that he did it because you and him take tests together so that you can support him, but he's growing as a man and had done it himself. And that's fantastic. My little guy is not so little anymore, and he's out there working in the work world and doing things himself, and just to watch him spread his wings and go do things. You know, he went to the card shop the other night and played cards with Pokemon and Magic cards, played with some people he didn't even know because he wanted to get into this game, and he stepped out and was brave, and that's fantastic. All right, that's all. Be joyful. I am joyful. Have a great day. Bye-bye. The last thing for September 8, 2022, just took in episode 10 of the EdTech News Brief with Jake Miller. And Jake, glad to hear your voice, bro. It's been a while, and you know what? I get getting busy and not getting episodes out as fast as you'd like. So no worries here. No worries. I'm so thankful that you are taking the time to collect the EdTech news and share it with us. The transition I'm into with Google to Microsoft. I appreciate the Microsoft content. I appreciate the Google content because it's important for me to keep up on that, because we're not completely transitioned out, but we are on our way. And so the Google Docs notifications about changes to things, that's fantastic. And I like the Google Drive tips that you give. Also, Microsoft Teams Reflect, you talk about that and changes and goodness that's going on there. And I'm going to be digging into Microsoft Teams class with my senior students next week, and working on how to utilize these tools and learning a new tool set because they're very adept with Google stuff. So the transition to Microsoft isn't going to be huge. It's just a different workflow and getting used to that. We, as a team leader at school, I have been working in Microsoft Teams with our secondary department. And, you know, we got to be focused on using the tools ourselves in our meetings so that it becomes natural and understandable so we can share it with our students. So keep on going, Jake. Appreciate hearing from you. And I'm going to share this along with our VP of Digital Learning, Gary Taves, so he can catch up and keep up with the Ed Tech News Brief. All right, peace out. Have a fab day. And hey, look, the sun's coming up. It's starting to get light out there. All right, bye. Hey, PLN, September 9, 2022, out for fresh air differently this morning. As you can see, the sunrise rising behind me. I got a buddy here with me, and we came out to go sockeye fishing that opened this morning, and We're out at the river, going out to try to catch sockeye, salmon. Didn't listen to podcasts today, but that's okay. Out getting some fresh air, moving my feet, and it's a beautiful, beautiful morning. I hope you're having a good Friday, and I've got a number of different tasks ahead of me today, but things are coming along, as you've heard earlier in the week. It's been a full and rich week, not in a bad way, just really, really lots of changes and different things going on. So yeah, we are moving spots because where we went, the river changed and we didn't catch any salmon. So hopefully I'll have some good news for you from our weekend's adventures with sockeye salmon fishing on Monday. But yeah, make sure you take a listen to the podcast that comes out tonight with the whole week's events and listens that I've had. And tell your friends, subscribe, leave me an Apple Podcast review. All right, have a fabulous day. Okay, bye.
As my one word for 2021 is appreciate, I appreciate you giving me a listen as I've created this podcast experience for you. It's a unique Blinkist or Coles Notes version of the content I take in, like a highlight reel, so that you can hopefully find other interesting podcasts you may not have considered before. I've recorded the specific podcast episodes in the show notes for your learning convenience. Please subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming episodes. And if you enjoyed this podcast and its format, share it with someone else. Tweet about your experience or give it a review on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to podcasts. Fresh Air at 5 can also be found on Voice Ed Radio. Your voice is right here, and on the Education Podcast Network, podcasts for educators, podcasts by educators. I hope you have a fantastic day and get some fresh air before the day is out, and take care of yourself because you're worth it.